Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Rassslin on webchannel24.com, and we are talking today about some AEW news. The big thing coming out of AEW this week, in addition to the fact that Pac will be returning to AEW, and we have some injury reports and everything else, but the main thing I really want to focus on in this video is the report that FTR is not very happy about the build to their upcoming match next weekend at Full Gear against the Young Bucks. Now, apparently it's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment that they made, but there does seem to be a little bit of validity behind it, and a lot of fans have talked about it too, that the build towards FTR and the Young Bucks, they tried to go like this way in order to get to it, which I appreciate that they didn't just try to just jump right into it, but I think the storyline kind of waned because it seemed like it was going to be a three-way thing with Kenny and Hangman. But now FTR beat Kenny and Hangman. They're not involved in it anymore. And the Bucks have been doing this weird thing where they're being heels to Tony Schiavone and kicking people and kicking stagehands and stuff. It's an odd way in which to go about making this match because the Bucks aren't being the Bucks. I would like this is a case, and I think this is one of the downsides of the Elite being what they are, and them kind of, for those of us who watched them, there's always been this tinge of them not really appreciating some of the stuff that was going on in New Japan. They didn't like some of the booking style in New Japan that was very much, again, we talk often on this channel about sports-based kind of storylines. The Bucks wanted to do, apparently in this thing, because they're booking the tag division, they wanted to do some kind of really, web thing, sports entertainment kind of thing. And you really didn't need that for the first match between FTR and the Young Bucks. It is one of very, very few dream matches that have existed in the last 5 to 7 years in pro wrestling of people who were in different companies and you never thought they were going to meet. Well, now they're going to meet. And the question is, why did they book it this way? And again, I understand they didn't want to go the most obvious route and go right into the match, but they could have just made this very competitive and just made it kind of a one-upmanship game of who's the better tag team. And they really haven't done that. The Bucks have went off with some other weird stuff. FTR has been proving week in and week out that they're the best tag team in AEW. They've been taking on all comers. They've beaten most of the tag teams that have come up against them. There's still plenty of other tag teams for them to wrestle. But I think getting to this match, first off, the match probably should be the main event. And I'm kind of disappointed and I'm kind of surprised because the Bucks have talked about that when they first started AEW, that tag team wrestling could be main event matches. If there was any card where you could have the World Tag Team Championship match be the main event of the show, given the fact that the main event of the show is, no offense to them, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. No offense to Eddie Kingston, but I'm not really feeling that. I don't really feel that's probably like the third or fourth match I'm looking forward to at Full Gear. It definitely is not the main event in my opinion. The main event of the show really is the Young Bucks versus FTR. That is a dream match. So I understand completely why the FTR is a bit disappointed in the build to the match. Hopefully that this doesn't translate into the match, and hopefully the match is as great as we all expect it to be, and maybe they can then launch off into something else with that. But I don't know what they're really doing over there as far as this tag booking is concerned. It's a little bit too much. And the really weird thing about it is when FTR came in, what they were doing with them from the very beginning and have them being these master manipulators who were just kind of playing this giant mental game of chess, not only with the Bucks, but with Kenny Omega and with Hangman Page and the Best Friends and Private Party. And they were like kind of manipulating Butcher and the Blade. They were manipulating all of these tag teams. And they've gotten to the tag team title. They got Tully Blanchard in the corner. And now it's kind of they're just kind of holding court. I get the sense that the Bucks are going to win the tag titles, especially considering the fact that now they've pulled the Cody thing, where, again, go back last year, Cody made the same deal with Jericho last year that if Cody did not beat Jericho for the AEW Championship at last year's Full Gear, he would never challenge for the AEW World Championship again, which they've stuck to. It's been a year now. They've stuck to that. Of course, Cody wound up giving himself the TNT Championship. But I don't think that's going to happen with the Bucks here because I don't think they're going to make a secondary tag team championship. It would be pointless. If the Bucks don't win this match, them not being able to challenge for the tag titles again, it seems like if that is the storyline they go with, it seems like a really missed opportunity because I would much rather see FTR and the Young Bucks kind of go back, they kind of meet, and then they go away for a while, and then they meet again, and they go away for a while, and they meet again, and they go away for a while. To crib it, and again, to reference one of the places that Young Bucks came from, and the Elite came from, kind of the way they did it with Okada and Omega back in 2016 and 2017 in New Japan. 2017, 2018 in New Japan. Having Okada and Omega meet and having the match be awesome, and then have them kind of separate and then come back and separate and come back and separate and come back. It kept the whole thing fresh. People kept talking about it. People kept wanting to see it. It was very much a one-upmanship thing. I think they could have done something similar with this feud. I think these two teams are going to work very well together. It feels like the feud something happened somewhere backstage where this feud kind of got screwed up, or they didn't know where to go. They kind of wrote themselves into a corner. That's what I personally feel. From just looking at it, that's what it looks like to me, that they wrote themselves into the corner. After FTR beat Hangman and Kenny, a lot of the momentum about what was the eventual match kind of left. The Bucks had to win another multi-man tag match to get the title shot. Now, people were arguing about, the selling on the beatdown the other week. I thought the selling was actually pretty good because, it's not wrestling selling. It was kind of felt like a real life selling. Like if you saw somebody hit somebody's knee, the guy down on the ground, in this case being Matt Jackson, he probably would be scrapping and fighting and trying to get at another guy. I thought that was effective. Some people didn't, but I ultimately, at the end of the day, I hope they can pull this together. Hope the match next weekend at Full Gear is as great as we think it's going to be. It's got a lot to live up to this year as far as match of the year, especially even in the tag division in their own company, because still right now, that match between the Young Bucks against Hangman Page and Kenny Omega from earlier this year is still ranked very highly on a lot of people's match of the year list. So they've got their work cut out for them. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Where do you think this FTR Young Bucks feud kind of went off the rails in AEW? Do you think that they kind of overbooked it? Do you think they're underbooking it? What do you think they should do with it? I want to hear from you guys. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until then, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and definitely share this video on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you talk about pro wrestling, AEW, and sports entertainment. I also have opened up the Patreon page. You go to patreon.com/Rassslin Rantin, RASSLIN and there you can sign up for one of my tiers. I have a tier where we do a Q&A and an extra podcast episode every month. And I also have a tier where you get that in addition to a watch-along where we go back through some old-school wrestling shows and do a watch-along giving commentary on some of the more historical events and matches in the history of pro wrestling. So hopefully you guys will be safe. It is the holiday season. The stupid election's coming up, so things may get crazy. There's other stuff going on. We all know the world's kind of lost its mind right now, but hopefully you guys stay safe. And with the holiday seasons coming up, you guys spend time with your friends and family. And we'll be talking more to you guys as the weeks go on here, leading into 2021 as we finally get out of 2020, thank God. But I'll talk to you guys later about that. Be safe and have a good day.